Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you might be. This is Jordan with Conquer Trading and Investing, and we're about to get started for our live trading session during New York. Seems like we have a lot going on and a lot to assess this morning and a lot to plan. All right. Let's see. Before we get started, let's just take a look at the calendar. And I believe tomorrow we have the non-manufacturing ISM numbers, which is something we want to take a look at. Anyone trading Australian dollar, which after the rate statement yesterday was seeing some appreciation overnight. Be careful, you have GDP numbers. I think there's a lot going on. And I think mainly this is occurring. What we're seeing off of the latest is President Trump has said that he thinks it might be better to make a trade deal after the 2020 elections. And, it seems like that's his style. That seems to be his negotiation tactics. I'm sure he's looking for some type of resolution for this phase one deal, and he's looking to put the pressure on China. China's response is that now the US is backtracking on what they said they were going to do. So I don't know, but let's see what the charts are pricing in, and let's see how we're going to react accordingly. Blair, Mima, Jeff, everyone, glad to see you. Glad you're here. It looks like we have a busy session ahead of us. And let's see, do we have anything else this morning though? Nope, it's just the only thing on the calendar later is Australia GDP numbers. ADPs are also always big numbers. All right, let's get to it. Let's see what's going on. I don't want to make any hasty moves here. Let's really just soak in everything that's going on. And by hasty, for example, let's look at the US dollar, Japanese yen. It looks like we've broken two supports here, right? Looking on the daily first, we see that this rising wedge looks like it's breaking down now. And it looks like this last support we had over here is also breaking down. I'm looking, first thing I'm seeing where the last penetration of the entry CCI is, and that's down here. All right. So I'm going to draw this support in right now. I'm not looking to chase after this yet. All right, we got some support down there to look at what's going to happen, how price is going to play off that. And I see that, this rising wedge pattern we've been watching, it looks like it's breaking down right now. Again, I'm not looking to chase after anything here. I'm really going to pick my setups. Let's see what else is going on. So just right now, we're aware this is breaking down. It appears to be breaking down. We got some support below here. We're going to wait and watch and see what happens. Not doing anything this morning on the US dollar, Japanese yen. We do see that gold is trading back up towards this resistance that we wanted to see. It's going to be nice to watch how price reacts along this resistance. We'll be watching closely if price now resumes downward. If price is rejected from this resistance, that's a trade I'm interested in taking. Of course, we're seeing the bid on gold, and everything this morning is really going to be reflecting the possibilities of the trade talks falling apart. Again, I think that's more posturing out of Donald Trump's part, looking to really tighten the noose here and try to get a deal done. Yeah, I saw it briefly this morning. It looked like we were seeing some type of breakouts. No. All right. This is really interesting. I mean, looking here at the pound US dollar, what we do notice is we're still in the 6-week range where price has stayed basically within 100 pips. All right. And it's still there. What's neat is to see we have this obviously strong support down here, is this upper trend line we have here, which is, it's really, you can see the color is kind of light because we don't pay too much weight to it, but you could see prices respected it so far, climbing upwards. So there's nothing happening here yet, right? It looks like it's getting ready to possibly break out, but we're still on the sidelines here waiting for a move. Anyone that is familiar with the upcoming elections in the UK, and if you're able to share any insight with us, that would be super helpful. I know that it's coming up soon. I'm not aware of the date, nor what the expected result is right now. Let's also check out the pound Japanese yen, same exact thing, right? You do notice here though, and I think we're going to see yen strength across the board today, but the pound is holding up pretty well against it. Nevertheless, we're still within this range. I'm going to tighten that up a little bit. All right. We're still within this range, and probably stay away from the pound. It's not doing anything right now. It's still trading sideways. Don't get suckered into what appears to be maybe it's ready to break up out here. Wait for the breakout. Get in on the retest. Paul, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. So glad you're here. Let's look at the pound Japanese yen. This looks like it's still holding within our channel here. This is the channel that we're trading with, and it looks, if you step back, I still call it a bear flag. Either which way, but there's a channel or a bear flag. The pattern remains, and it's still holding up pretty well. Are we looking for anything here right now? Maybe. We're going to come back to this. No action we'll be taking right now. Obviously, we'd be waiting for a reversal by price taking us back into the trade on the 8-hour. We'll come back and reassess this one this morning together. See what's going on. We're trading here towards this support right here, and we have the trend line support. We'll have to look at this trade a little more closely. So far, this seems to be offering the best potential, but there's a lot more to look at. We're just getting started here. It looks like here that the Canadian dollar Japanese yen is perhaps breaking down outside of this pattern. Let's look on the from a better perspective by going up to the daily, removing the indicator. All right, and you could see that price is very near support right now. So we're going to be interesting to see how this reacts. Again, you see here these wicks over here. Price right now is outside of this, but it really is depending on how the daily closes, right? You don't have a confirmation of a pattern until you have the daily close. There's still a lot of time ahead of us in this trading day. We're going to see what things develop. I'm assuming that the indices are breaking down this morning. We'll take a look at that as we get towards the open. Let's see what else. You assume that and again, I don't know. I'm not sure what other people's opinions are. We will look at the charts. The charts price everything in. You have to be aware of the fundamentals. This is Forex. If the trade talks fall apart, and again, I don't think they're going to really. But if they do, that you're going to see this show up first in the New Zealand dollar and Australian dollar. We know that the New Zealand dollar had been really, really overbought and oversold versus multiple pairs. I assume that's coming off this morning. We'll take a look at that. We're going to have to exercise a little bit more patience on there, but we'll see if all those broken resistances and supports now hold. And then, if there's any opportunity there developing. But this looks interesting right now. Let's see, New Zealand dollar, Japanese yen. Coming off a little bit. We still got to exercise patience here. This looks better. This looks good to me. Let's see what this looks like on the 8-hour. I'm just trying to get a feel for what's going on. A lot is taking place here. All right, we got multiple lines of support down here below. We have our strong support down here, this green line. All right, you see the breakout, it held multiple times. We have this strong sloping downside resistance over here. This blue box over here, that's the ideal place to look for a buy. But right now we're trading off of this trend line over here as well. That should be acting as support. I will look at this with a really tight stop if we resume upwards. That's not going to happen today. I'm not going to take it during Asia. I'll follow this later. If this area holds here though, and I have a chance to enter during London, on a resumption upwards, or New York tomorrow. I will look to do that, but it will be with a very tight stop loss. And the reason being for that is if we break below here, if we break below this sloping trend line, which I don't really give much weight to right now, I think we're going to be going down and testing lower. So I'd rather get in back lower if the trade gets stopped out. That's something to consider. This, along with the euro, Japanese yen, I'm going to continue taking a look at, as well as gold is also on my top list here. If gold is able, that's silver. If gold is able to, off this resistance, if price is somehow able to reject it. On the flip side, if this is enough here to take out this resistance level and the bulls are able to regain this level, then this really gets interesting to the long side. We're seeing the trend change up here. And what will happen here is the trade that this will go to the top of the list. The trade that I'm looking for will be once the entry CCI pulls back in this uptrend. I'm assuming that this line is taken out here, that this resistance level is taken out. And on that test of support, if we get it, looking to go long for sure. This is a lot of room to the upside. That could be a nice trade. Again, we've been watching that, and we will watch that to see if that continues to happen. But we're at a nice resistance level, and this provides an opportunity both to the short side if price resumes downwards, and to the upside if we take out this level and then it develops for the entry. Raj, good morning. Hey, you know what? I want to pause for a second. This is really important. Everyone, anyone that's new with us, it's really important. If you have any questions, that you just let us know, and we're all happy to help get you up to speed and explain what it is we're doing and how we're doing it. I don't want, as this community grows, I don't want anyone or new people to get left behind or feel like everyone else knows what's going on, but they don't. That's really important. So if at any point you have any questions, if you have a question, most likely someone else has the same question. And regardless, even if it's only you, it's really important to get you up to speed. All right. So if you're just joining us for the first time or for the first few times, welcome. Feel free to ask anything at any time. Let's keep making our rounds, see what else is going on. Swiss franc really has, and again, when we were up here at the top of the range, I remember someone taking a look at this, and I thought that was great. I don't want to trade it. I didn't want to trade it. Anything that's sideways in this congestion area, it's a range play, but look how quickly that came back down. See what's going to happen as we get towards this support down here. What's happening on the DXY then? Let's take a look. Okay, we're in this buy zone right here. If we get below this blue box, that's really going to mean we should see some extended moves on this dollar weakness. Right now, we're in this reversal buy zone over here. We'll see how it holds. Euro's still consolidating yesterday's move up. I'm just expecting, I don't know, it looks like we're going to stay within this range today. Probably not get a breakout one way or the other. We'll be watching it. What's going on the 8-hour here on the Euro US dollar? So far, this support level is holding this broken resistance. All right, let's change that color. Do you look for, you're off this resistance level right here. You have trade criteria, price resuming upwards. Do you take this long here? I don't. And I don't because we have, and here's why, right? If you could look at this and you could say, okay, well, we're near a support level. We now have trade criteria with the entry CCI pullback in that uptrend. If price resumes upwards, do I take the trade? The reason I won't take the trade here is because we have this resistance up still a little further. You see that? And I'm waiting to clear this level before looking for longs before getting excited by longs, or I'm looking to test lower on this broken resistance of this trend line, which should hold as support. Because from here to here, we have about a 1-to-1 risk to reward ratio to the upside. For I don't like it, so I'm waiting on here. I'm not looking, and I hope that's great if price resumes upward out of here. But I'd rather see this level get taken out. If this resistance level gets taken out, there's a lot more free room up here to roam, and I like that risk to reward better. So I'm watching the Euro US dollar, but I'm not looking to trade it. Same thing here with the US dollar Japanese yen. I'm waiting and watching. I'm not looking to trade it. Gold looks interesting. Euro Japanese yen looks interesting. If we get some type of reversal here, while we're at this support level. Another pound pair, pound Canadian dollar. Let's look back on the daily. So if you extend this trend line up over here, you can see that price right now is testing it. Price is still testing the area. It looks like it's breaking out over here. It's broken out of this multi-week high to a multi-week high, but it's still testing this resistance over here. Considering what this looks like on the 8-hour. We got price overbought in this extended uptrend at a resistance level. That's a reverse trend trade over here. If you look to take this to the downside, what's the US Canadian dollar doing? It's still holding support over there. That's interesting. So it looks a little weak. Nice. Let's see what that. Let's take a look at the pound Australian dollar. Again, anyone has any update on what's going on out of the UK and the election? Kind of like how this trades. Look at this. You get like a feel for the character of this pair and how it seems to trade. What's happening up here though? It's a little squirrely. It's not very clear. The thing that you do have this long this long wick down here. If people were looking to play what looked like a breakdown of over here, they're on the offside right now. I would still call it consolidating. It doesn't look as pretty as all those moves over here. Because you could see like, if that was the breakout, Paul, and then it broke down, but it's still holding up from the support. So things are getting a little squirrely over here. Probably if that headline didn't come across about the President Trump looking to, possibly postpone any type of trade deal until after the election, the Australian dollar would be firming up even further over here. Yeah, I mean, I don't see anything tradable right now. What I do see is this possible topping pattern possibly occurring, but not yet and not right now. And this is probably, I mean, what's going to happen? The pound is getting ready to make a big move one way or the other. I like how this pair trades though. I like how this pair trades a lot. That's kind of cool. What time is it? We have about 10 minutes to the US equity open. I'm assuming the futures are down. Oh, wow. A lot. We'll see what type of follow through we get this morning on this. Wow, 1%. What's oil doing this morning? New Zealand dollar is still acting strong versus the euro. I expected the New Zealand dollar to be weak across the board this morning. How's it doing versus the dollar? Looking good. Looking real good. Alberto, welcome. What is anyone looking at this morning? Does anyone see any opportunity that we haven't yet looked at that we want to get all our eyes on? I just want to review myself where I'm putting my focus. I want to be watching gold. Again, we're at an inflection point. We're at this resistance level. If we take it out to the upside, we'll wait and look for a possible way to get long this pair. That will be on a test of the support. That will be with the entry CCI pulled back, and then as price resume upwards. But any type of move down here, I'm going to be looking to play off this resistance. Even during this session, if we start making lower daily lows, I would consider that a rejection, and then consider looking to get short this pair. We're in a reversal zone, a possible reversal zone of the dollar in this blue box. We have to get below it to see any type of continuation of a move of dollar weakness. The euro, Japanese yen is something to watch. We do have mixed yen strength this morning. I'm watching for a reversal here. We have this one support line, and then this trend line supports. The only thing I don't like about it is where to place the stop on that. Because this lower trend line is so far below. So far, gold looks the most attractive to me, and I want to check the New Zealand dollar, Swiss franc. If we start reversing upwards here, this is something also that I would like to keep an eye on. I'm not sure what the headlines are regarding what is ever happening with the trade deal, or if that's going to. You have a pretty hard deadline of December 15th is when the tariffs are expected to be raised, which means there's about another 12 days for them to make this deal. It looks to me like pressure is just being put on China at this moment. So it's such a big event, and it's a big event for two pairs that are highly correlated to risk on and off. Nevertheless, there is still 2 weeks. That's plenty of time to take some profits out of the market. Jeff will take a look at the euro US dollar right now. I know that I am in a position of waiting on this pair to develop. I'll show you why right now. I'm going to start on the daily time frame, and then we'll look here at this over here, the CCI. So you can see right now that yesterday we did two things. We broke this trend line resistance, and we came up to this next level, this next resistance level here. Price is basically holding above it. So that is, you can see it over here as support. Right, that green line, it's holding. So right now you see the true trend turn positive. The entry CCI is pulled back in this new uptrend and price seems to be resuming upwards. Do you enter here because you're near a support level? All right. Now, for me, no. And the reason being is this. I have another resistance level right above me, and I don't have my support to down here. So it's less than a 1-to-1 risk to reward ratio here, which I do not like. So what I'm waiting for is one of two things to happen here for this to become a tradable event for me. I'm either waiting for this resistance to be broken. If this resistance gets broken to the upside, then when this occurs here, when we have the entry CCI pull back, testing the support over here, I'll look to buy on a resumption upwards. Or if we fall down to here and test this broken resistance and holds as support, I like getting an entry closer to this support over here because then my stop is tight and I have a really favorable risk to reward ratio. Up here, if I get above here, there's a lot of room to the upside. But right here where we are right now, I'm kind of pinned between resistance and support, and the risk to reward ratio is not favorable. So I'm not taking this trade. I'm not looking to take this trade. I'm just waiting for further development here. Will the CCI turn back down here? I have no idea. If price takes out this support level, this trend line, it will be right unless we get back into this trend line, this broken resistance. If price is able to test below it, it will be definitely negative. Right now, here on the 8-hour, it's positive and it's rising. So it's too soon to tell. It's possible if you get a successful test of this trend line here, that it would just be turning negative, and I would still take a long if price resumed off it. So at that point, the trend line support would hold more weight. But we still have at least 24, 36, 48 hours before that could happen at its earliest. So we'll watch it and we'll wait. But right now, price is trading upwards. This looks like this move is going to continue and probably get a test a little higher, maybe towards these highs over here, and maybe as high as this resistance drawn in over here. Mima, I think it's one of the best things to do is take a trade. Yes, the trading with the weakest and strongest pairs is really helpful and an edge that you want to have on your side for sure, especially the shorter term of the trade you're looking to take. But yes, absolutely, you definitely looking to see what's moving. And what's moving each day is generally what is the strongest and the weakest. You can't chase after it though. So that's a little hard. For example, let's look over here and let's see what's really moving. I mean, we do see gold is obviously really moving. It's up 1% on the day. What else is moving? The US dollar, Japanese yen is really selling off. The pound is moving. All right. And Australian dollar, Canadian dollar is moving. Let's look at that one because that's up almost 0.5% on the day. And so I'll look on the daily time frame first. I mean, clearly, even though this is you're dealing here with probably the strongest and weakest pair today, the Australian dollar, Canadian dollar, you're trading up towards this resistance level you have right here above. So you're not going to chase that. You're not going to take this trade here long right now this morning, right? What could you do? Well, most likely you wait to see if this resistance is broken and taken out, and then you'll look to see if you could get in. That's not going to happen today. Or if we're going to get a rejection, although the Canadian dollar is really weak versus I guess everything. We saw that against the dollar, which is weak but stronger than the Canadian dollar today. We're seeing the Japanese yen break down, the Canadian dollar break down out of that channel it's in. So the Canadian dollar has been weak these past few days. New Zealand dollar has been strong these past few days, but that doesn't mean that they're going to continue like that. You're up here at a resistance. So there's nothing to trade there. Let's look at another one. Let's look at the pound US dollar. Again, you have a strong pair versus a weak pair this morning, but again, also at resistance. So you do look for the strongest and weakest pairs to offer you an edge. But what's happening this morning, and again, that's why it's always like a story being told, and you have to read the story. This morning, everything is on those opportunities on those pairs, they're trading at resistance levels, so not going to take them. Obviously, if they break up out of the resistance levels, well, then they get in play for us. We don't take the breakout itself normally, sometimes, but we were looking for some type of re-entry once we saw the breakout of the level. And Blair, the only thing that you know the only thing you have to be aware of is that most likely this is just posturing out of Trump trying to pressure a trade deal. So, for example, when I see that this appears to be breaking down out of this channel over here, I'm a little hesitant to chase it to the downside yet because talks have not fallen apart. Same thing here on the US dollar, Japanese yen. This looks like it's breaking down out of the channel. It hasn't closed that side of the channel. I'm interested in what happens more towards this support down here. Because the talks again haven't fallen apart. So I'm hesitant to chase after these breakdowns. But right now, absolutely, the flowing is, we're seeing yen strength. We're seeing the Swiss franc firm up, and we're obviously seeing gold. But gold, again, for me, this gets interesting on a break above this resistance that it's trading at right now. It has to break above there. If it breaks above there, then on a retail, there's a lot of room here. This is like $30-$40 to the upside until we get towards this next resistance all the way up here. But we got to break through first. Too bad, once the Hong Kong bill was signed, I got into a trade down here, right up there actually, probably at 14.57, and I exited it a few dollars lower. It just didn't work out in my time frame. Euro US dollar, you're saying the pain trade is up near towards this resistance up here. And again, that's why I'm not interested in I'll take a long down here because I know I'm wrong right away if we fall back into the channel. If price does retrace down here. And adversely, we do have to take this app to the upside for me to get interested to a long. So right now, we're just in no man's land, just waiting on the Euro US dollar. This level does seem to be pretty important up where you have it. Also, Paul, I have it a little bit higher just to give me a little bit of wiggle room. We'll see. I'm interested to see what is happening now as the U.S. equities open to whether or not we're going to have a trend day where markets really sell off, or if we're going to have any type of reversal this morning. If we start seeing a reversal on U.S. equities, that could mean that the market doesn't believe that there's not going to be any type of trade deal, and we're going to see a reversal of sentiment that we saw so far this morning. So the next 90 minutes are pretty important to what happens. Excellent share, Raj. Enjoyed that. Excellent share. Um, Australian dollar, US dollar. I don't know. I think we saw overnight after the central bank was on hold some firmness in the Australian dollar. And now we're seeing, this looks interesting. And now we're seeing, because of the heightening risk sentiment, we're seeing a little bit of sell-off. You can see this wick over here, but it's broken this trend line over here. Let's take a look on the 8-hour. So on the Australian dollar, this is a great, a nice point it's trading at. And to answer the question, is it buy or sell? Well, it's neither for me right now. And here's why. You see that we've had this over the last, looks like 32 hours, a really just big up move here. And the entry CCI is really extended to the upside as it took out this resistance level here and is currently holding as support. Let's wait and see what develops. If it's going to hold over here, we're going to get the entry CCI pulled back again, and we're going to see if it holds. And if it holds and resumes upwards, it's a much better buying opportunity than it is right now. Adversely, we could still fail. Especially with what's going on this morning. And if we see this fall back below this trend line and the true trend roll over, that's a nice selling opportunity. So just wait a little while longer. You're seeing what looks to be a possible positive sentiment developing here in the Australian dollar. Let's see and give it a little. Let's not chase after this yet. Let's continue watching it and see what happens. Yeah, and so we have to look at the near term. So over the next, this session, next session, the next couple of days, we might see a continuation of this move. But again, just playing chess a little bit and looking forward, we have December 15th as the hard deadline. China's economy is in dire straits right now. It's really suffering. They really need some type of reprieve. They need a deal on. And Trump wants to get reelected. So he really is looking for some type of ceasefire deal. It's all show. It does really nothing. But I think he's just posturing right now. Nevertheless, we have to play the cards in front of us right now. That's why it's a little difficult to trade this right now. We want to just give it a little bit more time to see how the Australian dollar, US dollar develops. If this move is going to continue, we're going to see some good trade. We're going to see a good trade on gold to the upside. We're going to see it break out over here to the upside. And then we're going to have some opportunity here. Adversely, right here to the downside also. It looks like, if all of a sudden sentiment reverses this morning, we're looking good. Where else do we have opportunity? I think just a little patient. We've seen such a strong up move on the New Zealand dollar. I know that a lot of people right now are really chasing after her. I think patience is going to pay off here. I've seen it so many times. The first half hour of trading in U.S. equities is so important. Obviously, up until the London close, when you see such, one or two things happen when the markets gap down a percentage point on the open. Either you're going to see a trend day follow through, or they're going to reverse themselves. And then the headlines that follow afterwards will tell the story. They'll be like, If they reverse themselves, well, anyway, we'll see what happens. Silver is really, really pumping here. What are we missing, everyone? What should we be looking at? It's a turning point today, so I want to believe these moves are happening instead of chasing after them. We are trading down at support here on the euro Japanese yen, and the yen is mixed today. It is showing strength, but it is also mixed versus other pairs. All right, we have the pound stronger than the yen this morning. Yen is much stronger than the US dollar, much stronger than the Canadian dollar. This is still alive for me. I'm going to have to wait and see what continues to develop here. I want to take a look at the headlines. I want to know what they're saying. So I also, let's see. There was a headline overnight on that President Trump was all. It was a headline or a tweet that President Trump was also looking to perhaps impose more sanctions on France because of the digital tax. It looks like he's also looking to escalate multiple fronts on his trade wars. I don't know. It must be the mood he's in. And look at this. So the euro, that must have been weighing down actually the euro overnight, which is now firming up. Again, I'm more interested to see how we react around this resistance level over here. This is the line in the stand for me that we have to trade above this for me to know that this trend is in place to the upside. There is no favorable risk to reward for me right now. There are other opportunities, and the opportunity is not here on the euro US dollar right now. This continues to be more or less a tug of war. Look how this is so difficult to trade. And then we had a breakdown of a level. And then since it's been sideways again, absolutely nothing going on. Where is there opportunity? I'm going to look here at the 8-hour. Again, I'll be watching now the Australian dollar, US dollar, but I'm waiting for multiple things. I am waiting to see. I'm waiting for the entry TCI has been up above the zero line for so long that I'm waiting for it to definitely come down before I look to possibly get long. This trend line will have to hold as that happens. And the closer we get down towards this other support line, the better also. Adversely, I want to see what the DXY does, because if the DXY at the same time breaks below here, below this lower support of this blue box over here, at that point, that gets me more excited also about looking for an Australian dollar, US dollar long, because then we're seeing dollar weakness continue across the board. So what we're doing is really, really, really looking to pick our entries. There is momentum to chase today, right? There is momentum that it seems to me that we hit a turning point today, but I'm still not sold that it's going to hold, right? It looks like gold is now taking out this resistance line. It's got to close above it. When it closes above it, we're still not taking, I'm not taking the long. What I'm doing is I'm waiting to make sure that she holds here. Is it possible we get a long prolonged move upwards? It is. Almost see the break, test of resistance, back down. Here was a broken support level. And you didn't get, there was the test up here. It wasn't all the way back up to the level. Nothing's ever exact, but you saw the resumption back downwards. If a trade gets away from me without it giving me an opportunity to get in, that's fine. I'm looking for the retest of the broken level to get in and to give me a sign that it's okay to get in. It does look like, as we're 20 minutes into the US equities open, that we are seeing some follow through. Is interesting to see. You have this mix of risk on, and then you also have the Australian dollar firming up, even stronger than the yen. So the Australian central bank said that they're basically going to be on pause for a while. New Zealand dollar is still stronger than the Australian dollar, though. The closer we get back towards a test of support, and if it holds, the better entry we could possibly get here on the New Zealand dollar, Japanese yen. Again, if this is all posturing and we do get some type of resolution, we could see definitely a multi-week or month move on this. Gold looks the most interesting to me right now. It looks like it's definitely taking out this resistance level. We're seeing equities extend their losses today. I don't like chasing breakouts, but let's. She looks like she has room to roam, though. It's hard when you see a lot of things moving and you're on the sidelines completely. But better to wait and get your entry than chase after things. Gold is really looks like she's making and taking out this level. And here's where it's important to really, even if it takes me 2 days or longer to get into this trade, if it's going to develop, it's going to pay off. It looks like we are getting we will get a close today outside of this rising wedge pattern. This support over here, I think, is pretty important. And I think before taking any sell side trades, I'd rather see a break of this support. I'd rather see the true trend crossover. Let me know that we're really going to start be heading down. Because again, this could change really quick. And then this could wind up holding and we could be trading back in here. I'm not chasing anything this morning at all. If we're going to get really, if we're getting some important levels taken out today, that's good. Then there's opportunity to reverse ourselves and get in the new directions of what's going on. They don't need to be at the moment that they're happening. Canadian dollar so weak, huh? The US dollar, which is, the Canadian dollar must be the only pair the US dollar is stronger than, and it's still holding within this channel over here. It's interesting. And again, if we do get any type of reversal, if we do see the dollar from up, which it doesn't appear that we're going to, then I would expect it to lead the way versus the Canadian dollar. Again, we are seeing follow through this morning, but I'm not chasing after it. If these levels get broken and taken out, it will give us time to get in these new directions. Yeah, I guess traders were, as soon as Trump came out and said that he was that maybe it's better to have a deal after the 2020 election. Looks like everyone jumped in on gold, and that's good from our perspective. If this gets taken out and holds today, then we know that we're looking to get long. We'll wait it out, but this could be a nice trade if this continues. Anyone that is trading gold, once you get up around, the 1490 area, that's the point you have to look at moving your stop loss to lock in profits, at least to break even, and watch what happens. That's the first area to look at, the first minor resistance to look at, to see how price is going to react. Good day for day trading, for taking short-term trades. Excellent. Hanera, if you were able to recognize that and take advantage of it, that is really some high-level stuff. Being able to trade on short time frames on the days that call for it is a real sign of maturity. It's difficult to do. It's difficult for a new trader to distinguish when you have a trend day and when you have a range day. When is the time to be trading short-term trades, and when you should be looking to trade off of higher time frames. Those are some of the most important things to be able to distinguish in the market, and one of the hardest things for a trader to be able to do. Yeah. So I wish we had some type of like betting site that was giving odds of that, whether or not the December 15th hikes are going on and not or not. I don't know if this is kind of art of the deal posturing. Donald Trump, President Trump does like to really turn on the heat as you get close to a deadline, and in order to put himself in a better negotiating position. He always does that. And I believe that China definitely would like to be able to make a deal, and I'm sure he does too. So I don't know what's going on. Um, we're going to find out, but I'm interested to hear your guys' thoughts. What do you think? Do you think that the tariffs are actually going to go on December 15th, or do you think that the two are going to come to some type of resolution? My instinct here is that President Trump is really posturing. Either which way, and I mean, I have to tell you, I'm really impressed. I'm really proud the way that you were able to analyze the market this morning. I hope that means that every day, like this is the first day that we've seen in a little while that really offers opportunities to trade. That every day you're not taking those trades. Depends what time of day. Also, I have to be honest. If you're Eastern time, usually between between it's been so long. Between 8:30 and 8:50 is a really good time to take short-term trades like that. That's usually after you get a lot of news announcements. Markets really move for 20 minutes. Sometimes even between 8 and 8:20, there are good times to trade in there. I haven't been able to do that in a year, and that's because that time of my day is tied up. Getting one of the girls ready for school, and those are some good times though in the morning for taking really short term trades. This morning with that Trump headline that provided a perfect opportunity. Let's say we do have the break of the level here. We're gonna have to wait for this to play out again. There's nothing happening right now. If you were trading this, this is one to watch. The New Zealand dollar, Swiss franc, just to continue to see how things play out. You can see I don't give it much weight, but you see this light trend line over here, and price so far is respecting it. Again, if price were to resume out of here, the New Zealand dollar, this was nice to see it, get a little pressure off it being so overbought, but I'm not sold on it yet. We'll see. I will take a little. I'm considering taking a little nibble here sometime during the upcoming sessions if price resumes and holds this level. But if I do that, I will have a very tight stop loss again, because if we do start trading lower, this is a much better place for an entry that I would feel more comfortable. Right. So I'm not saying the markets are going to reverse these morning's gaps down losses, but if they do, the headline is going to say something like the markets didn't buy the fact that Trump is, going to wait off on a deal. The news will always kind of just give a narrative after the fact. That's why we are aware of any type of real fundamental news that's important, but we'll look to the charts to tell us really what's happening. And again, we're in an area here. The dollar's got to extend below this line over here for us to know that this move is really continuing. Are we seeing the US dollar build up gains on the Canadian dollar here? No. That's interesting. I thought raining meant like it was gonna fall really quick or something. Ranging. You see you said a daily trend line. What do you got, Paul? Paul, we got to get you to be able to post screenshots of your charts. Are you putting a trend line in from these lows of these wicks? I'm using the closes up here. We've had a couple of fuzzy areas, huh? Paul, postimages.org. I'd love to see what you're looking at. Gold here on the 5-minute is testing this breakout over here right now. I very really like Hanero, how you are able to recognize the state of the market and also are looking to perceive what will happen next. Something for everyone, every single one of us to really learn off of. Again, it's so important to recognize the state of the market, right? Is it a trend day? Is it a ranging day? Are markets moving? Are markets looking to range? What time frame should I be looking to focus in on? Alberto, thank you very, very much. Thank you very much. That's really cool. I definitely thrive off of knowing that other people are being built up. I believe that's where true happiness comes from. And again, I've said it since day one. The more that we work together and the more that we up everyone's game, the more it will just continue to level up the entire community. And that's why I don't want anyone to get left behind. If anyone is just joining us, and you have any questions, absolutely. That please let me know, let anyone know. Happy to help and get everyone up to speed. I think it only takes a reasonable amount of time of following us, whether it's for a few days or a week to know what it is, what we're doing, and how we're doing it. But nevertheless, that we're here if anyone has a question. Good place to look here. Perhaps if you're looking to take a small, just a few dollars off of gold, see what happens. Again, if you're trading off the short time frame, you have to get out when you're wrong. You have to get out quickly. I'm not looking for a trade here. I'm just watching it. So now, of course, you have to ask. You have to, let me know what exactly you're looking for, though. Otherwise, I am certain that it's being absorbed by you. So the euro, Japanese yen, I got my eyes focused on the New Zealand dollar, Swiss franc. I was just looking at what's going on the euro, Swiss franc, see if there was anything developing. You can see here on the Canadian dollar, Japanese yen, it is trading right now at this support level. And these are still close to their lows of the day. Paul, is this what you were looking at? This is kind of like on the euro, Japanese yen. We had the two trend lines. Are you saying that it kissed below it and is currently holding? Something to watch. Yeah, we'll take a look at the US dollar, Swiss franc right now. So here's the tricky part though, as far as looking to take entries. If we stall out here, you have to be careful about late in the day New York. The last definitely few hours of the session after lunch in New York. I'd say from between 2 o'clock and 3 o'clock do provide good signals that hold. And then you have to be really careful about anything until London opens. So if we see any type of reversals happen, I'm looking to set orders overnight for London, but I'm not looking to enter until then. US dollar, Swiss franc. Let's take a look at what's happening. And so, I mean, yeah, we saw a quick and swift move back down from the upper end of this range these last 2 days. But the dollar overall, right, it's got to get below this next support area to see a further move on these pairs. And the US dollar Swiss franc is trading right now. It's also coming up to this support area. So unless we trade out of it to the downside, this blue box, or out of it to the upside, if we break out to the upside, I'd be looking long. If we break down to the downside, then I'd feel better about looking for shorts. But within this box, we're pretty much ranging, right? And we are looking, we're looking at some next resistance and support levels right now. So, and this is trading right to a support level down here. So the trade was up here if you played the range. I don't play the ranges like that. I don't play sideways markets. But if you were looking to sell it, it was when you were towards the top of the range. You can't be looking to sell this right now. You have to first wait for it to break down, and then you wait for a test. And if the trend resumes downward, you could get in. But right now, if you're looking to short this pair, you're chasing momentum, and it's a terrible habit. It's a money losing habit, chasing momentum. Yep. After the London close is a real low volume part of the day. New York traders are getting ready to head to lunch. Usually you see retracements of moves during that time. You rarely see any type of continuation of moves. It's definitely not a good time to be trading. In all signals that I take on off of my 8 hour, those are, it's a bad time to trade. After 2 p.m. Eastern time is you have a couple hours of good signals. Any triggers you get during that time are favorable. And then again, not unless you have some type of big news out of the Bank of Japan or Australia or the New Zealand Central Bank, you want to stand aside during Asia until London hits. A lot of false signals happen during Asia. That's good. She looks like she's holding the new level. We're seeing indices still trading near their lows. Although I'm watching what's happening right now on gold over here. And again, when we traded back down off the support, we said, this could be a place to look for a couple of dollars. I'm not looking to trade it, but what I will be looking to trade if this level does in fact indeed hold, right? When we get a pullback here of the entry CCI as we're testing this support. If that gives me a trade, I'm taking it for sure. I will then look, if I'm able to get long gold, I will then look right around here. The first thing I'll do is see how price reacts around this level. I'll look to move my stop to break even right away. And then if we break through, then it becomes a nice trade. If we start bouncing off or stalling out, I'll look to take profits. But right now, I'm waiting. I'm not taking any trade here this morning. And it does look like we're going to see, well, there's a good chance we're going to see a further extension of the moves we have this morning. Outside of, a tweet changing the whole tone of the markets, it looks like we're going to see some follow through. This is what Blair was sharing with us earlier. See, I'm just going to read between the lines here with you really quick. I'm going to read this tweet, and it says that sources say that December 15 tariffs on basically the rest of what China imports into the U.S. are still going forward as of today. I was told the caveat, this is the important part to pay attention to, is if phase one trade deal gets done on paper or something else positive happens, the president could choose not to impose tariffs. And then also today, President Trump said the deal may not be signed until after the elections, and he's okay with that. This seems to me sincerely like he's just trying to posture to try to get them to come to a phase one deal, and he's just hanging these December 15 tariffs over their head. That's why I'm not buying it. I agree wholeheartedly. So, but we have to watch what's going on, and again, we're in this support area, this buy area, and also we're seeing that this does look interesting here. The U.S. dollar, Japanese yen. I now added this bottom trend line to the spikes downs over here, and it looks like we could be holding within that area. It's similar to what we had on the euro Japanese yen, which is a better play. I mean, the euro definitely is stronger than the dollar right now. So as far as versus the Japanese yen, this is where I lean towards right now. The New Zealand dollar, Swiss franc. Things are developing. I'm not looking personally. I'm setting myself up right now for overnight during London. And what that means, if any of these pairs that I'm looking at with you, as long as their formations continue to hold, if I have a down price bar on and I'm looking to buy during Asia, I will set an overnight order to buy it if it's a down price bar at the high of that previous price bar. So for example, let's look at we'll look at the US dollar Japanese yen, and we'll look at the euro Japanese yen. If in Asia, we're still holding these levels, the support over here, we're still holding this support over here. I really like the trade. If this is a down price bar during Asia, what I do is I'll set a buy limit, a buy stop order above it, and I'll look to enter overnight. If you look at the US dollar Japanese yen, same thing. We would need to be above this level for me to do that. Obviously, the euro is looking better right now. There's never a rush. There's never a rush to get in. Always wait and pick your setups. By picking your setups and trading less often, you're going to be more profitable than just chasing trades. It is, I mean, so it's too soon right now to get in. There's plenty of time there's plenty of time over the next upcoming sessions for us to take a look and get in at the right time, because we're back down towards the bottom of this range over here. And we have now a lot of upside, and we know when we're wrong. Wrong for this pair now is below this 108, 25, right? So the risk to reward is getting better and better right now. Just is not the moment to enter the trade. Pound US dollar is not a sell right now. Pound US dollar is absolutely, look at that from the sidelines. Let's take a look at it. You're just looking this on the daily time frame with me. You're just in this range for 6 weeks. We're on the sidelines waiting right now. We have the elections coming up on the UK. It's going to be pivotal. As far as shorting it here, I mean, this trend line over here is being respected. That doesn't give you much, if you're shorting, that doesn't give you much room, right? The risk to reward is very poor. You're always looking for a favorable risk to reward going into a trade. It's the reason we're not taking a trade right now on the euro, euro US dollar. Even though you could see we have a broken resistance line that looks like it's holding at support with trade criteria, we're not taking along here because there's resistance right above us. And the stop loss is all the way down here at the next support. So it's less than a 1-to-1 risk to reward ratio. On the pound US dollar, similarly, if you're taking a short here, first of all, that's way counter trend. You're at the top of a range. You are at the top of this range over here, but you don't have too much room to the downside, right? You don't have too much room. What do you have? You have maybe 35 pips, and that's not a good trade to be taking. You want to wait and see what happens here. You have to, if you break down out of this trend line over here, then you have a little bit of room to the bottom of this range down here for the support. But right up here, no, this pair is not moving. And again, we don't know if you look at the DXY, we're in that area of support. We don't know if this is going to hold or not. There's nothing to trade here, even though we're coming down and testing this support right now, which is support right now. For now. There's no trade here. Unless you had your stop really below, I prefer my stop down here on a higher time frame, because when you trade with tight stops, they usually get taken out, right? If you trade below important support levels and above important resistance levels, you have a much higher winning percentage, right? So if you were taking a trade, if this started resuming upwards, and you took a trade with a stop loss here, at that point, then you have a favorable risk to reward ratio if you're able to come up and test this resistance here. But we're in a pretty narrow range. and it's not a high probability trade. It's just not a high probability. It's a low probability trade. Right. So you do have the GDP numbers tonight, and the Australian dollar is starting to get interesting now. I will go down to the 4-hour to see what you're saying and to get a nice look at it. But I just want to start from the 8-hour. And so first of all, we have this big move up, right? So if you're chasing price now, well, now you're chasing price. But we do see this broken resistance come down and has already been tested so far successfully. Okay. Well, that doesn't mean that there's not more work to do. Like you see, for example, over here, you see this above this line, there was a lot of consolidation. And I expect that's going to happen until this gets taken out and it's a false break. And you have this support here now. This is now support. So to get excited about shorting this pair, I would want to see this support taken out to the downside. All right. That's not happening yet. So I'm looking for longs, right? And I have a trend change happening right now to the upside, but my entry CCI has been extended. Price has been extended to the upside for a while. So what I'm waiting for before I look for a long entry is I'm waiting first for the entry CCI to come oversold and for this still to this support, this trend line support, this broken resistance still to be holding, and the very least above here. So although I am now looking at the Australian dollar, US dollar, there's still a lot of time for this to develop. Nothing's happening today. Let me look at the 4-hour to see if we're getting some type of failure. I don't see a failure yet on the 4-hour. I do see the broken trend line, and then I see a retest of it, and so far it's holding. If you want to get short the Australian dollar, US dollar, well, you give it a little bit more time. Your counter trend right here, you're trading against the broken the breakout to the upside of this resistance level. The support is still holding, and you have another support over here. So if the trade deal falls apart and all of a sudden we start seeing some Australian dollar weakness, we're getting below this support line, and then shorts look attractive. You'll have the true trend definitely on your side. Right now, we're in an indecision area, right? And we're just waiting. I give it a long bias, and we need to wait and see what develops here. Right? We have the ADP non-farm, and this is a great time. Again, this is a great time to trade in the morning. I don't know what type of reaction we're going to get off there tomorrow. I'm definitely looking to play this technically, and I'm going to be trading off my charts. We don't have any type of news events that I'm interested to see also this one, how they react. We're close to a turning point in the dollar. Again, a lot of people are chasing after this at this moment, but at this moment, we're near the support level. And maybe after those numbers are out of the way tomorrow, maybe then we start seeing a reversal in the dollar. We have to break below this support here for me to get excited about further dollar weakness. And if that happens, we're going to see, this resistance probably taken out to the upside over here. And then we're looking at that point to get long the dollar. I don't buy anything right now. I'm waiting for these important levels that we're trading at to really be taken out, and then I'll look to get towards the new directions, or there possibly we could get the reversal right now, and be able to enter some trades back towards the trends that were in place. There's simply no action right now. A lot of traders are focused in this morning on the pound US dollar. Maybe that's because we saw about the 0.5% increase overnight, and it's trading towards the top of this range. We do have, I'm not sure when it is on the calendar. Let me look. Right here on December 12th, we have elections on the UK. This is the event that really needs to be out of the way. We're leading up to it. It needs to be a certainty, whichever party is going to win, that we'll see some type of breakout. But you can see on the pound, we've been for 6 weeks just sideways consolidating. And I don't think until we get any type of resolution next week that we'll see any type of breakout or breakdown of the pound. I think it's much smarter right now staying away from the pound and wait for the next move to happen, whether it's up or down. Just wait and just continue to trade aside. Do I think it makes sense taking a counter trend trade reversal here off the top of the range? I don't think so. I don't think you have too much room to the downside. This trend line is being respected. Let me even just move that up a hair. This trend line has so far been the low of this range that we're in to the downside. I would just wait. I don't see an edge here on the pound at all. Same thing with the pound Japanese yen. You're just sideways for 6 weeks, and you have a big fundamental event hanging over its head. So you have those elections next week, and I think it's just better to stay on the sidelines for the pound. Gold could still be rejected by this level over here, right? We're going to look at the close on the daily. If it is rejected up here and we start making a lower low than the previous price bar, I'm interested in taking a short for sure. And my stop loss will simply be at the high of this bar right here. And the reason I would do that is because the risk to reward is in my favor. It's the hardest taking trades off of support and selling off of resistance, but that's the way to do it. And again, if the breakout holds up here, what are the indices doing? They're kind of where they opened right now. If it does hold though, I'm waiting for the pullback of the entry CCI and make sure the level's still holding. And then as price resumes upwards, I'm looking to get long. I'm watching this one though, because there's a lot of room to the upside. See, and just again, this is like reading through the propaganda. This is a really important skill set to learn. Now you have the trade secretary, Wilbur Ross, on CNBC making the rounds, and he's saying Trump wants to get the right deal. It really seems to me that Trump is really pushing for a deal. And although the market's trading off of him saying that he has no problem waiting to after the 2020 election, that's really not the case. He doesn't want to wait. He's just trying to put pressure on China right here to get a deal done. And if that's the case, if that's what play, so it's really important. This, we're in December. December is usually, especially after the second week of December, is usually a low volume event. But look what's going on. If we walk out of these next, 2 weeks with a trade deal, you're looking at the New Zealand dollar, Swiss franc. We have to watch this trade and see if we could get into this trade, because right now, as the pressure is being turned up and we're seeing, sentiment changing, this might give us an opportunity, as we're still above these support levels here, to get long this pair and to get long at a super fantastic entry. I want to look at that from the 4 hour. Sorry about that. If we're able to get long here and things work out, there's a lot of room to the upside. If all of a sudden, the market's pricing in some type of even perceived global recovery, and we start for a couple of months getting some good numbers in, this trade could be the trade of 2020. And they're not saying it's going to happen. If it does happen, though, we'll enter it as a swing trade with our normal risk. And if it continues to go in our favor, which could happen, we'll look to hold that trade. That's the only position trade that we're really looking for. And the same thing's happening on the New Zealand dollar, Japanese yen. Yeah, you're not kidding. It's amazing how quickly things could change. US dollar, Japanese yen is looking towards, we're looking to see if we could get in for any type of longs right now for a couple of reasons. I have the new annotations made on this chart. Paul brought this in. Let me look at it with you so we're all looking at the same thing. I'm going to get rid of the true trend right here. So it's really important today where this closes on the daily time frame. Right? You want to see this pattern, this rising wedge. I've just moved this trend line out here, connecting the wicks to the bottom here. And we'll see if the US dollar, Japanese yen closes outside that or back inside that. You have a support down here as far as going short this pair. I will not short this pair until this support line is taken out and then we get our entry. As far as buying right now, you're off the support line. If this holds, you could be looking to buy this. I would not look to buy this before London. I would be buying this only during London. If during Asia, we still have a down price bar. Otherwise, I'll wait to see what happens during New York tomorrow. You are looking to see if you get long now off of these supports. The Euro Japanese yen does look a little bit more healthier though. You can see this support line is still holding. You're still trading well within the channel and off of the lighter lower channel. Trade looks good right now if you start getting a resumption of the trend upwards. But US dollar, Japanese yen, you are looking for a buy. You're not looking to buy this here right now. That's too soon. But this is, if you're looking for an entry, this is where you should be focused, and you're focused in the right direction. Trading right at the support right now. You have multiple things trading at really important levels. You have, what were you guys playing? The DJ30, I think. I'm really focused here that a lot of people are chasing after this dollar weakness, but we're at support right now. And until this gets broken down, I'm not convinced. Thank you, Raj. I have to actually add this in here. Yeah. So, I mean, number one, we're at the time of the day where you don't want to be entering trades. Number two, multiple instruments are really just in trading at support and resistance zones. Whether or not we're going to see any further follow through during today's session or not, I don't know. It's definitely not a place to be looking to take trades. Again, the earliest you would look to take a trade would be during London, and maybe today would be good to look together towards the close of New York, the last couple of hours. Hanero pointed out tomorrow on the calendar, we do have two events. We have ISM non-manufacturing and a DP non-farm employment change, which gives traders a heads up of what Friday's non-farm payrolls numbers are going to be. So I think it's just, I guess the message right now is just to be really careful and wait for further things to develop. Anyone who's looking to buy the US dollar, Japanese yen, that's what you want to be looking at right now still, but you're too preemptive. You need to wait. Gold to me looks like it's offering good opportunity, and it could be to the upside or downside. I'm going to be watching this one. I like obviously gold, and whether or not it's the US dollar, Japanese yen, or the euro Japanese yen, I'm undecided. Right now, this is holding nicely, but if we start seeing actually the dollar hold these levels and we start seeing dollar strength coming in, well, that might weigh on the euro here. So I'm not exactly sure. And sometimes if you're not sure and you have two pairs offering a similar setup, the thing to do is just go in both of them with half the risk that you normally would. So you're kind of, evening yourself out. Australian dollar, US dollar. Now we're getting closer, but we're waiting. All British pound pairs, we're waiting. US dollar, Canadian dollar. Let's see what's happening there. Nothing, right? Indeed, we're seeing things stalling out near resistance and support levels. And that's the important thing to do, is watch how they react around them. Usually, I want to drop down and see how that played out on the 5-minute. Still looks good. Where do we need to get below to really call that a failed breakout of that resistance level? can't take trades preemptively. You cannot be chasing after trades. You are going to really just keep hacking at your account by doing that. You're much better off taking the good trades, the trades that offer really clean setups. Those are the ones that usually work out in your favor. And if they don't, you know you're wrong right away with the least risk. You're going to make much more money. Yeah, you can see even going down on these lower time frames, looking to where you would see like a failed breakout. And again, as always, I think the best thing to do is trade off the 8-hour. You see over here, this price bar over here, for price to be rejected off this resistance level, it would have to come out and trade below here, right? Which is 1473 area. So ideally what would happen for me in a perfect world is during Asia, we're still trading like an inside bar between this price bar over here. And then I could set overnight, I could set my my sell stop at the low over down here with the stop loss up here. I think you're right that it looks like we will continue from this point, be ranging into tomorrow's numbers. At least as far as the dollar is concerned. Still watching these indices closely today to see what they do. So the pound is basically trading right where it opened today. It's still consolidating towards the top of this range over here. You know, the yen is relatively pretty strong today, but so is the pound, and the pound is still holding up pretty well. It's basically a indecisive battle. I wouldn't read much into it one way or the other. It's pretty much a stalemate. Yeah, I still think that, like, look back over here, Paul, and you see that this back and forth, and I think that's pretty much what we still have. And you could see it's in this range. You could see right now it's just trading back down to support. Either which way, this is sideways. Whether it's sideways within this blue range, this blue box over here, or even if it's sideways above, you see where my mouse is right now, which is support of this little top portion of the range, or if it's going to stay within there. But either way, this is not offering you an edge. And if you follow this down right here, right now, you're still chasing after price here to the downside. We I don't recommend it. I don't do it. It was the sell would be towards the top of the resistance up here. So you now back down towards this support area. I think it's sideways and it's a non-event and something that you want to stay away from. Look, some levels we're giving. Is pretty big support right there. It's a tough one, right? Even if an important technical level is taken out at this point in time, if by next week or if by the 15th, 12 days from now, US and China, which it looks like they're going to sign any type of deal, then all this will be null and void anyway. And I would think there's a good chance you'll see the indices trading back at new all-time highs again. Don't forget, the most important thing when it comes to these indices is the amount of liquidity, central bank liquidity. And right now they are pumping money into the markets, and trading against that is very difficult to do. We are trading near the lows of the day, though. That's usually the way it works, right? It's the slow climb up and then the waterfall down. I was not watching this at all. But the play was up here, right? To the downside. And then the continuation. I mean, unless you're short and you're managing a trade right now, and if you're managing a trade, you're looking to see what happens in here at this support level. But, you got to be careful about looking for a continuation here right now. Absolutely. Seeing it played right now, Paul. There is no, as far as what to buy and what to sell. Hey, listen, this is really important. Altra, I'm glad you brought that up, and I'm glad you're here right now. And so, listen, we're in the business of making money here, and we do that through through a really important skill set here. If you're looking to take trade, if you're first of all, I want to teach you how to be able to do that yourself, so that spend a little time with us, spend a few days with us, and all of a sudden your eyes are really going to be open. Spend a couple of weeks with us, and you'll be spotting trade setups yourself and know what trades to take with confidence yourself. If you're looking to what you should be buying and selling at this moment, at this time of day, 5 minutes before the London close, you should not be buying or selling anything. The only thing you should ever do at this time of day is take profits. This is the time of day when many market tops and bottoms are put in. The last thing in the world you ever want to do is buy or sell anything at this time of day and take a new position. All right. That's really important. Obviously, that's not something that you would know until either you had an enormous amount of experience of screen time under your belt, or it was shared with you. But really important, at this time of day, you should not be looking to buy or sell anything ever. All right. We're going to teach you how to find out what to trade and when to trade it. But the most important thing that you need to absolutely work on is developing the skill set of patience and understanding. And that's great. We could teach it to you really quick within a few days. So the best thing you could do for yourself right now is not take any trades, and not take any trades until you yourself know what it is that that you should be buying and selling. No, Andy, we don't have any plans for that. You should be able to trade this really because of the 8-hour time frame. If you work full time, you should have no problems being able to take the trade yourself. That's the beauty of it. Actually being able to assess and review the market should take about 20 minutes a day maximum. To really, though, you could do a quick scan in 10 minutes, but to really walk yourself through every situation and to really find the best setup, give yourself 20 minutes a day, and then placing orders. Placing orders takes a few minutes. If you right now, what gold trade would you be in that you're looking to close? Right. So for gold, as far as I'm concerned, let me walk you through this. We were looking here at this resistance level over here that looks like it has been taken out today, and we're waiting obviously for a close above it. And I'm not looking to go long on the break of this resistance level. I am looking now for the possibility of a possible long trade on gold. Okay, here's why. Now that we've broken this resistance level over here, there's a lot of room to the upside over here, right? There's a lot of room. The risk to reward is fantastic. Over around 1490, you need to first look to set your stop to break even and see how price reacts around that resistance level to see whether or not you do take profit off there if price winds up stalling out up here and then resuming downwards. Or if we blow past this, at that point, you have a beautiful trade on your hands, and the take profit would be looking up here. But I'm not in this trade yet. The only way I'll get in this trade here is if we see the entry CCI pull back after now being overbought for the break of that resistance, and this broken resistance level, which will turn into support, hold, right? And then price starts making a higher high than the previous price bar. Then I'm entering the trade to go long. Right now, I'm still not sold that this break of this resistance is going to hold, because let's see how the end of the day closes and whether or not this level holds this breakout. And then on the retest of the broken resistance, which is support, if it holds and then price resume upwards, I get long. There's still a chance here this gets rejected by this resistance level over here. If we make lower lows, I'm taking a short trade over here. We're at a pivotal point. We're at a resistance level. So right now, you should not be taking profits if you did take a trade this morning. You know, if you saw the news that Donald Trump was saying that he's happy with waiting until 220 after the election to make a trade deal with China, and you were able to pounce off of that. Are you taking profit here? I wouldn't. I would be holding on to that trade. I would now jump to a higher time frame, and the only way I would exit this trade would be if on the 8-hour time frame price made a lower low than the previous price bar. Otherwise, you might have a home run on your hands. As of right now, you're above that broken resistance, what appears to be broken resistance. King, does that make sense to you? It's really, by the way, welcome, and I'm glad you're here. And to be honest, if you had even just spent a few days with us, I think what I said would make a lot more sense to you. But that's the first time we've gone over it. Does that sound right to you? Do you understand what it is I'm laying out and explaining? And does it help you manage the current trade that you're in? Nice call. They got that fix in, huh? And now prices, it looks like it's going to hold. That breakout does above this resistance level appears like it's going to hold. Of course, we still have, a few hours ahead of us until we get the close. But again, I would like to get long if we close above that level. I will wait and I'll look for a retest of that broken resistance to hold as support on a higher time frame. And then I'll look to get long if price allows me to get long. By picking my setups, I am just putting a lot more things in my favor. Over trading on the lower time frames, trading at the wrong time of day, is just going to dwindle and dwindle and dwindle your account. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong about whether or not the trade war will escalate and the tariffs will go on in the 15th. I also see headlines that Trump is talking about banning Huawei completely now from the US, but he keeps like extending them the ability to actually buy goods in the United States. And to me, it just seems really his playbook as you get close to a deadline to really, get verbal and put up the pressure and try to get the best deal. And this seems to me to be absolutely just textbook Trump, getting close to a deadline and pushing up the pressure. So for me to get interested on any type of short on the US dollar, Japanese yen, I want to see this support taken out down here. And then on a retest of it, my first opportunity to get short, then I have room to the downside. I think that will also coincide here with the DXY losing this support over here. And also at that point, we should then see hopefully the euro has taken out this overhead resistance, and then we have longs on the euro. So we're really close to a lot of pivotal levels across the board everywhere. And just by waiting a little longer, we'll have a better opportunity. We are seeing the indices trading at their lows of the day. The Blair, I saw that, and it's kind of funny, right? The CEO's daughter is currently in jail in Canada, or being detained in Canada. Yet they're moving their facilities there. What do they call it? Their research facility, or what exactly is that? Is that their surveillance facility? I'm not exactly sure. Mima was bringing up the U.S. dollar, Japanese yen. Looks like we're headed down to 108.28, you said. Yep. It does. It really does. But at the same time, you've all seen it. You all see what happens when you get late in the day in the New York session, and all of a sudden the plunge protection team jumps into action, and you could see indices, especially when they're around important support levels, all of a sudden turn on a dime. So that's why we need to wait and see if we get, again, we need a break of this level to get interested in selling her. And if you're looking at buying the US dollar, Japanese yen, you're going to need a close today back inside this. Otherwise, you're in no man's land. If we don't close back inside here and we're still above this support, we're in no man's land on the US dollar, Japanese yen. 2732. That's a big gap, huh? It's over 1% gap. So, Michael, you're asking if it is a good time to sell gold. Well, currently it looks like we've broken out this resistance line. We just changed this to green this morning. It was a red line. It was a resistance line. And we're now trading above it. Okay. So when you're above a broken resistance line, it usually becomes support. So you don't want to be selling gold up here as it's breaking above a resistance line. All right. The next thing we're looking to do is see if it's possible to get long gold, which is not going to be today. It's not going to be now. The only time we'll be ready to get long gold is if you see this line over here in the description, there is a video on the true trend. If this true trend, if this entry CCI comes oversold while we're still in this uptrend with the true trend above the support line, then it gets interesting. The support's still holding. And if price starts resuming upwards by making a higher high than a previous price bar, then we want to get long gold. As far as getting short, well, the daily still has not closed. It's possible that this is a failed attempt of this resistance here and that we get a long wick down and close below. So what you want to be doing is looking at the 8-hour time frame. And if you start making, if this gets rejected here, this resistance, this is a failed breakout, and then we make a lower low than an 8-hour price bar, then you could look to sell. But right now, you don't want to do anything. You're at an inflection point, right? You're waiting to see if this appears to be broken resistance holds. And if it holds a support, then you're looking to get long. You're looking to get long, and you're first looking around 1491 to see how price reacts around that resistance. You set your stop to break even. If price breaks through, then you got a home run on your hands. We'll manage that well. If price stalls at that little resistance level, you'll be looking to move your stop to break even and or take profit off the table. But right now you're watching gold, waiting. You have to watch that London close. She's tricky. Yep, stick with us. You know, in a really short amount of time, we're going to get you up to speed so that you're able to see these things and make these assessments and decisions yourself. It's really important to understand the market and to be able to make all of these decisions and see the market, to wait for the setups, to take the best setups. And by best setups, I don't mean that for sure they're going to work out. The ones that are just giving you the highest probability. Let's take a look back at both. We'll look at the pound US dollar and we'll look at the pound Japanese yen. And I'm just going to look, what we'd like to do is look at the daily time frame without any indicators to first find out what's going on. You see here, they're both marked yellow right now. That's just for me to know that, you know what, just caution here. You could see here now, this is going back to October, the middle of October. So you're looking at, for 2 months, for about 8 weeks, we've just been sideways, right? We had this huge move up on the pound, and since then she's been consolidating those gains. We have over here, it's really important, on December the 12th, we have elections out of the UK, and it looks like the pound is really just going to be in this holding pattern until then. Now, it is possible that she does break out or down before those elections. But we have to assume right now that this current consolidation is going to continue until it doesn't anymore. And by doesn't, until we get a breakout or breakdown, I would just stand aside right now and wait for that to happen and develop. It makes no sense trading something that is moving sideways. And if you are playing the range, if you thought that like this isn't a range, so I'm going to be selling the tops and buying the bottoms. And if you're selling the top here, this trend line has been respected on the way up. So it doesn't give you, it gives you about, by the time you were able to take an entry, there's not much room to the downside. That's a really aggressive counter trend trade that I don't recommend. And there's not much room there. It's the same thing playing out on the pound Japanese yen. You could see that ever since that huge move up, she's consolidating towards the top, but she's still consolidating, right? And you could see we were just looking at, and we were saying that it was coming down towards this support, wherever my mouse is right now, that support, and price, was about 15, 20 minutes ago was trading down at it and it's holding, but it's just sideways. Wait for the breakout. Don't play the breakout. Wait for the retest of the broken resistance. Look for it to hold that support. And then as price resumes upwards, get long. Same thing to the downside. All right. There's nothing going on yet. Wait and watch. You see, this is where the S&P opened, and we're trading almost near the open right now. We're probably going to be, well, we'll see what happens in the afternoon, New York, if we get any further follow through. We have tomorrow. ADP non-farm employment change, and also ISM non-manufacturing. Two big numbers, a lot of more numbers on Australia, actually. It's not just the GDP tonight. Tomorrow you have retail sales and trade balance. So on the Australian dollar, US dollar, we're just waiting now. We're seeing what's developing, and what we're seeing happening is price is broken out of this trend line here to the upside, but it is stalling out right around it, right? We're just going to wait further to see what develops. There's no trade to take right now on the Australian dollar, US dollar. We want to see price hold above this. This is now support. There's nothing developing yet. We just need to continue to give it some time. And that makes a lot of sense why there's nothing developing. There's still, the next 2 days have a lot of numbers hanging over the Australian dollar's head. Have to keep watching this one. This one looks like a nice trade, possibly developing. The closer we get down to here, we know you're wrong above this support over here. So the closer we get to it, the better our risk to reward on entry. To know you're wrong right away is good. The upside potential on this one, again, if we do get a resolution here, if we get a phase one trade deal, and the markets don't sell the news, but actually, we see a nice reprieve for a while, this could be a beautiful trade. We'll keep watching. All right. Let me take out Bitcoin. Again, the best way to trade Bitcoin is simply pull up the true trend BTC, look at it on the 12-hour time frame, and when it's negative, you are on the sidelines, and when it's positive, you are long Bitcoin. I believe the best way to trade Forex, because of the potential of Bitcoin over the next 10 years, is to trade an account based in Bitcoin. And by using this method here, you could go between actually trading an account in dollars and Bitcoin and transferring back and forth. So Bitcoin is currently squarely. There's not a lot going on. I don't think now is the time at all to be focused in on day trading Bitcoin. There will be obviously plenty of opportunity. It'll probably be after next May, after the next halving. In that time following, Bitcoin will probably be really having some explosive moves. That's a time to really look at day trading Bitcoin. Right now, you really just want to rely on the true trend BTC for when to be in and when to be on the sidelines of Bitcoin. Yeah, I have a feeling we'll take a look at both the pound, New Zealand dollar, which would be looking at two strong currencies. The New Zealand dollar has been pretty strong against everything, and the pound has been just holding, consolidating those gains. And you could see on all the pound pairs, it looks like the pound is getting ready for a continuation pattern to the upside. This looks nice. This looks like nothing more than a bull flag that's developing here. This is, a continuation pattern to the upside. If it breaks out, and that's probably dependent on what happens in the elections next week. If you're buying the bottom here, well, now's the time to do it. I wouldn't do it. I wait for the breakout, but now's the time to do it if you're looking for it. You're at the bottom of the range. Let me look at the 8-hour. Yeah. It's not a bad trade, right? It's not a bad trade at all. You have your stop down here. You're dead wrong right away. Entering now, and you have a little bit of room. until you can think of moving your stop to it's not a bad trade to play off the bottom of this possible bull flag right now at all. Looks like a good trade. Similar thing. Similar. We looked at this earlier. I made a bunch of actually annotations on it. And you can see the pound Australian dollar and pound New Zealand dollar trades well with these patterns. And this looks a little more squirrely than the New Zealand dollar does right now. Let's look on the 8-hour. But she's holding. Yeah, I'm trying to work out in my head actually doing a video overview of Bitcoin 101, understanding Bitcoin, and just sharing some important data and graphs, and just trying to little by little help people understand the potential there. The next from now until May of the next 6-7 months, next 6 months is a really fantastic opportunity to begin building a position into Bitcoin. And it's really interesting. It's more than really interesting. Understanding money, right? It's why people first get into gold and understanding sound money. Bitcoin, it's really important to understand. And I believe what could provide the greatest opportunity to really build up substantial wealth over the next 10 years for anybody. It's very, 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 very early into Bitcoin. I think that's largely, again, you said you're doing your research now, and it's just largely unknown. It's really easy and safe to store Bitcoin. Storing it in any type of hardware device it's off the internet. It can't be hacked. It's extremely safe and easy. Although, like riding a bicycle the first time and when it's new, it kind of seems a little bit overwhelming, and it's like anything else until you spend a little bit of time and understand it, or read the directions of a new camera. You don't understand it, and then all of a sudden it's really easy and you do. And as far as using a Forex broker to hold Bitcoin, well, that's the same thing as trusting it to hold any other currency, whether it be dollars, pounds, or euros. When it comes to Bitcoin, though, the difference between fiat money and Bitcoin is that with Bitcoin, you actually have more security and that you control it. When your money is deposited at a bank, right, you really don't own that money anymore. The bank owns it, right? And you're trusting them to hold it for you. And if anything goes wrong, or the FDIC in the United States insures bank deposits. However, if there's ever a problem, the FDIC won't have the money to insure it, right? You're taking that risk. And the same thing, except with Bitcoin, when you're holding it, you're not putting the risk on with anyone except for you having the security of taking care of and protecting that. If you're using a Forex broker to hold it, it's the same thing as if you're trusting it to hold whatever equivalent you would have in dollars. Yeah, I mean, and a really, really interesting rabbit hole to go down to for anyone is Google or search on YouTube fractional reserve banking system, because it's really understand. You have to understand Bitcoin. You have to first understand money. The monetary system we use is called the fractional reserve system. For every dollar you deposit at the bank, they could then lend out $9. Or for example, if you sign a mortgage, say you sign a mortgage for $500,000, that bank didn't have that money, but now they could lend out 9 times that amount of money, $4.5 million. And right, so if everyone went and tried to withdraw their money from the bank, it doesn't exist because they're lending out 9 times the amount of money that's deposited there. So at least with Bitcoin, there's only I don't want to get as Wall Street is entering the picture what could happen now, but if you hold your Bitcoin, you own your Bitcoin. Great series, highly recommend it, and the way that it's presented is super fun and friendly. Another good video to watch is I think it's called Money is Debt or Debt is Money. It's an old one. It's probably like 15 years old with some basic animation, but a really good one. Yeah, you could buy you could on FX Choice you could deposit dollars or any other currency and then convert it into Bitcoin. So what do you think? It looks like that this level might give way. We might see some further extension here of these losses on the dollar. What would we do if this support held? If price traded it down to this support and held? Well, we'll have to assess that as it happens. That's not happening until the session's ahead of us. Yeah, JJ, we're seeing a flow into the yen today. I have not read The Creature from Jekyll Island. I saw Zygist, The Creature from Jekyll Island, which was I've looked for it since. I'm sure it's on YouTube. It is absolutely phenomenal, and I believe for anybody that is the first step to actually taking the red pill and to understanding the world around us is The Creature from Jekyll Island. I'm sure the book is even better. The video is phenomenal. The video was absolutely phenomenal. Paul, have a wonderful day. Really enjoyed it. Thank you. we are seeing major risk off. As these new things develop, as these new trades develop, I will take them. At the same time, my gut is telling me that we just have a lot of posturing going on, and by the 15th, those tariffs are not going to go on. Now, I'm not saying I believe if Trump is not getting a deal that he's happy with, I believe he'll take a very low quality deal here just to buy some time for the election. But as he showed back in May of 2019, when he walked away from the deal, he's not afraid to walk away either. And there's no question that if he believes China's playing games, that he'll put those tariffs on December 15th. But I believe right now he's just posturing. He's posturing to get something done by then. So I'll take the trades as I see them on the charts, but I don't buy it. So let's check out right here, Dre, on the US dollar, Japanese yen to 108.92. Yep. So, well, it's very iffy right now. The first thing is you don't want to take a trade here at this moment. Okay. If we close today, and we actually close back within this channel here, you could then look at taking a long. And not only that, then your risk is really well defined, right? You could put the risk at today's low, and then you're back in here and you can see what happens. As far as taking a trade here right now, you're in no man's land, which looks like you might be breaking out of this. We readjusted the channel here today, but it looks like if you're closing below it, you're closing outside of it. You also don't want to short it because you have this support right here below you. So you're kind of in no man's land outside of this rising wedge and above this support. A break of this support, well then, yeah, then we're getting excited. Then we're looking for shorts and we'll look to get into the trade. But right now, preemptively taking a buy here, hoping that we come back and retrace up here, well, that doesn't make any sense. You know, that's like putting on a trade to put on a trade, especially this time of day, right? Look at the time of day we're in. You don't want to be putting on a trade here. You want to wait and see what develops. A break down below here, then you have an edge. You have probability with you. You have momentum with you. Get back above here. All right, now you could try and put something on. Right now, wait to see what happens. You could go either way. I take trades during the London session, trades that come off of my signals, trades that I enter in off the 8-hour time frame have a high degree of probability of playing out during London session, and I do take them. So if you're just joining us right now, I'm glad you're here. We're definitely right now just watching the market and seeing what develops. There are no trades to take, especially and never during this time of day. Later in the New York session, the last couple hours, any signals that occur, and again, these are off of higher time frames. The 8-hour time frame for me, those signals are solid, and although they are they're not as frequent as trades that occur during early New York and during London. When you do get a valid signal, a trade trigger during those times, they do have a high percentage of working out. Right now, we're just watching what's happening with the market. Right now, we have a lot of new levels being tested. right here on the DXY. We're seeing it under pressure. We are seeing it right now at support, right? So you're at this really critical level. And, it would not be surprising today during this session to see this support break and the continuation of these moves. After moves happen, after support is taken out, we then wait for the retest to get back in those trades. You'll see that playing out on gold. If the DXY breaks down and we see further pressure on the US dollar, Japanese yen, I'm waiting for this support level down here to be broken. If it's broken on the retest, I'll get short. If we continue to see pressure all the way through Asia on this pair, I will be setting overnight a buy stop if the previous price bar's high is taken out during London. And as we come along this support over here, it's starting to get interesting. I would like to see us trade down even further. The further we get down towards this darker trend line support over here and this green support line over here in this blue box, that's obviously ideal. I'm waiting. The only way I'm looking to get long here on the euro is if this resistance up here is taken out. Then I'll be looking for longs. Or if we trade down towards the support, until we trade above this resistance, we're down to this support. I'm waiting further for things to develop on the euro US dollar. There is no edge for me right now. Blair, there's also an interview that Griffin Edwards did about a KGB officer who defected. I believe this must have been in the late 70s. It could have been the early 80s. Have you seen this interview? Because everything that he said would happen has happened now. Looking at this interview, I remember watching it for the first time probably around 2006. And it was really interesting. But now, 13 years later, everything this KGB officer said was going to happen in the US has now happened. I'll look for that video today and see if I could post it for everyone. It's really eye-opening. So yeah, if you use the, I could share a link to it. It's an indicator called I think it's called Serenity EA. and it does show the amount of pips in profit, although that would only work if you have one position open on a pair. Because if you have multiple positions open, for example, on the Euro Japanese yen, it's going to show the cumulative gain or loss in pips. Yeah, if you could just download that off of Forex Factory. If you search that name plus Forex Factory, you can get a download. And then which is really good if you want to use any type of take profits or stop losses, equity based. But it does show the amount of pips into profit, but probably only one pair at a time. I don't know if that's the solution you're looking for, actually. Raj, that's the interview. That's the interview right there. All right, everyone. I think that's it for today. Great session. Every day more and more. I really enjoy working with all you guys. I want to thank you for that. I really appreciate it. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll catch up with you all tomorrow. Real quick on, I'm traveling with my wife on Thursday. We're not going to have any live streams Thursday morning. Whether it's possible or not to do that, for me to do like a 20-minute overview of the markets on the plane. I don't know if the internet is good enough to upload it or not. I definitely have the time on the plane to do it, so I'll try that. And then it's up in the air. I'll alert everyone through a message on whether or not Friday we will have a live stream session, or I'll do a video check-in. But definitely we'll have the weekly Forex forecast. Anyway, just a heads up. I'll talk to you all tomorrow. Have a wonderful day.